Today we're doing section 12.7, which is the surface area of a sphere. Now, a sphere is a ball, if you will. A couple things that you're going to need to know as far as terminology goes. The equator of the ball is called the great circle. Okay. Sometimes they'll give you like the area of the great circle. This half of the circle, like if I took a ball and I cut it in half, is called a hemisphere, which should be easy for you to remember, considering a globe. Okay, so those are two different terms that you need to make sure that you understand. We're going to start out looking at your book. If you look at the example on page 672, so if you need to pause the video and get your book, that would be good. Look at example 1, and it shows a plane going through a sphere. And it says in figure O, in the figure, O is the center of the sphere, and plane R intersects the sphere in a circle, A. Okay, so you've got circle A, which is the circle that's formed when it intersects. Okay, if AO is 3 centimeters and OB is 10 centimeters, find AB. Well, you should see that all you have to do right there is the Pythagorean theorem. OB squared is equal to AB squared plus AO squared. When you work it all out, you find out that AB is 9.5. We're going to do one up here similar to that, so we can work it out. This is the first part of this section. It might take me a minute to draw this. All right, let's say you got this plane. And this plane is plane P. And you have this circle that plane goes through the circle, if you will. That's a terrible circle. All right, let's see. All right, where it's dotted, it's below the plane, okay? And you have a center right here of O, and it goes down to R and S, okay? It goes down to R right here, and then S is where the plane is level with the thing. It's kind of hard sometimes to see this, but I think what they give you as information will help you just figure out what you need to do. You're always going to be using Pythagorean theorem. It says OR is 6. It says OS is 14. And you're trying to find RS. So the 14 is your hypotenuse. So I have 6 squared plus SR squared is equal to 14 squared. And just use your Pythagorean theorem to figure it out. When you finish and take the square root of it, you're going to find out that, well, I'm going to do it on my calculator. Should be 12.6. Okay, you're going to have some problems like that, but they're all going to use the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, it's probably just centimeters, not centimeters squared. So just look at your illustration and try and figure out your illustration, but you're going to end up with a right triangle that you're going to use. Then the next part, the main part of this particular section, is finding the surface area, the total surface area of a sphere. And just like all the other shapes, this too has a formula. The total surface area for a sphere is 4 times pi times r squared. Now, you also have the total surface area for, so this is a sphere. And then you have a hemisphere. Now the total surface area on a hemisphere is going to be half of your sphere plus the area of the great circle. Okay, so it's going to look like that. Okay, so let's say we've got this sphere. And what I know about the sphere is that the area of the great circle is equal to 201.1 inches squared. All right, now I've got to use that to be able to find out what my R is, to be able to know that. So, well, actually, this right here is going to give me the area of that great circle. All I have to do is multiply that by 4. So 4 times 201.1 is 804.4 inches squared. Now you could work backwards, but the area of the great circle is that part right there. So if you know that area of the great circle, you're just going to multiply it by 4. Okay? Now let's say I only want the hemisphere, that I'm going to cut this in half and I want the total surface area of just half of it. Well, then I'm going to take half of the 804.4 and then I'm going to add the 201.1 inches squared to it. So that's actually going to give me an answer of 603.2 inches squared. So you see, there's not a whole lot to this particular section. Okay, there's no regular polygons, which is what tends to throw you off a little bit. Okay, let's say I have another circle, and on this one, rather than knowing the area of the great circle, I just know the radius of the circle. It's 4.2 centimeters. Okay, well then I'm just going to use that. So if I want to know the area of the sphere, it's 4 times pi times 4.2 squared. When I do that, put it in my calculator, it's 221.7 centimeters squared. Let's say I wanted to know the hemisphere. Then I would take half of 221.7, because it's like cutting the circle in half. And then I would add pi times 4.2 squared. Okay, that's going to give me an answer of 166.3 centimeters squared. All right, so it's just a matter of plugging in there. All right, let's say I want to find the surface area of a baseball. And I know this baseball has a circumference of 9 inches. Okay, now I'm going to have to use that circumference to be able to find the radius so I can plug it back in. So remember, circumference is 2 times pi times r. If my circumference is 9, I have 9 is equal to 2 times pi times r. I'm going to divide both sides by 2 pi. If you put that in your calculator, don't forget to put parentheses around that bottom. I find out that r is equal to 1.43. Then I just plug it in. 4 times pi times 1.43 squared. So my total surface area is 25.7 inches squared. All right, I'm going to have you try one. Do one of each, like the things that we've done. Let's say I want to know the total surface area of a sphere if the great circle area is 907.9 centimeters squared. Go ahead and do it, pause the video and come back. All right, the easy way to do this is understand that this part right here is the area of the great circle. So all I have to do is go 4 times 907.9. It's going to give me a value of 3,631.7 centimeters squared. Okay, that's the easy way to do it. Let's say I want to find the area, the total surface area of a hemisphere. If the the radius is equal to 3.8 inches. Okay, again, all I'm doing is plugging in 1/2 4 times pi times 3.8 squared plus pi times 3.8 squared. Don't forget to put that whole last part in parentheses if you're going to do it on a calculator. You should be able to just punch it in. This actually is going to equal 91 right here. And this is going to equal 45.4. When I add those together, it's 136.4 inches squared. There is very, very little to this. All right, one more and then I'll give you your homework. Surface area of a ball, if the circumference is 24 inches. Go ahead and try that, pause the video and come back. I want to use this to find my radius. So circumference is equal to 2 times pi times r. So 24 is equal to 2 pi times r. I'm going to divide both sides by 2 pi. R should equal 3.8. And then I just plug the 3.8 into that formula. 4 times pi times 3.8 squared. And it's going to give me 181.5 inches squared. That's it. All right. Homework is page 674 through 675, 11 through 29, odd.